Welcome to the Ashmolean Museum and the Viewing Art Mindfully podcast. My name is Ruth Collins and I'm a trained mindfulness teacher working with the Ashmolean. I would like to introduce you to the practices you will be doing today. We will begin with a mindful arriving and preparing to view practice. This will be followed by a talk from one of the curators from the Ashmolean, who will guide you mindfully through a specially selected object from the museum. Coming to settle. Ideally, you will be sitting on a seat that supports you to be upright, relaxed, but alert, with your feet placed easily on the floor in front of you. If you feel comfortable about doing so, allowing your eyes now to close, otherwise letting your gaze drop and soften so that you are not looking at anything in particular. Setting an intention now to arrive fully by connecting with a sense of the body sitting. Perhaps you can feel the distribution of the body's weight on the chair. Let yourself be fully supported by whatever you are sitting on. Once you feel settled, just checking in with your position. You might want to adjust your posture slightly to feel more comfortable. It can be helpful to lengthen the back a little, relaxing your shoulders, opening your chest, tucking your chin in slightly to elongate the spine to allow for a smooth flow of breath from the nose or the mouth all the way down to the abdomen and back again. Now, bring your awareness all the way down to your feet, with the intention not being to think about your feet, but to feel sensations in the feet. Notice the point at which your feet make contact with the floor, the balls and the heels of the feet, the toes. Perhaps you can feel the toes lightly touching each other, or maybe you can feel the texture of any material that's resting on the feet, or the firmness of footwear encasing them. Allow yourself to gently and curiously explore each and every sensation that you can detect. And if you can't feel anything, that's fine too. Just being curious about this also. All the while, the mind will intrude and try to pull your attention away from the focus of the feet. Whenever this happens, as best you can, coming back to simply feeling sensations in your feet once more. Now letting go of your feet, turn your attention to your seat, your buttocks, your sit bones, your thighs on the chair. Bring your awareness to the sensations of sitting, the firmness of the chair beneath you, the point at which the thighs extend beyond the end of the seat, perhaps, the sensations of clothing in contact with the skin. Maintaining as best you can a simple, non-judgmental curiosity as you explore sensations of touch and pressure, returning to the anchor of sitting whenever the mind tries to entice you away to think about something else. As soon as you notice this happening, bringing your awareness mindfully back to whatever sensations you can identify while sitting on the chair. Moving the attention away from sitting now and shifting the focus of your awareness to your hands. Feel your hands whilst they're still. Perhaps the hands are resting on each other, or laying on your lap, or the chair arms. Just taking a moment or two to explore sensations wherever you notice them. A feeling of roughness or smoothness from the surface they are lying on. A sense of softness or firmness of touch. There may be skin-to-skin contact where the hands connect. A sense of the spread or closeness of the fingers and thumbs. Working from the tips of the fingers all the way through the hands now. The backs of the hands, the knuckles, the palms. You may feel coolness or warmth as the air lightly brushes over the skin. The mind will wander as minds do. Whenever this happens, patiently and gently returning your focus to the physical feelings and sensations of the hands. Letting go of the hands now, bringing your awareness to your upper body and to the sensations of breathing. Not needing to change how you're breathing, but just tuning in to the natural rhythm of the breath that is already there breathing for you. Notice how the abdomen gently rises and falls as you inhale and exhale. For a moment or two, just focusing on following one breath all the way in and one breath all the way out. Perhaps being aware of a slight pause between the breath as you breathe in and the breath as you breathe out. If the mind drifts away or gets caught up in thinking, simply drawing your attention back once more to the anchor of the breath and the body sitting here breathing. With full awareness of the body sitting here, right now, and whilst continuing to keep the eyes closed or the gaze softened, gently expanding the spotlight of your attention to become aware of sensations in the body as a whole. Perhaps you feel the body moving slightly with the breath, a slight rocking or swaying, or points at which the body makes contact with another surface, a slight tingling sensation, the coolness or warmth of the skin. Widening your awareness further, perhaps you can detect other things through the senses too. Maybe you can hear sounds around you, sounds near and far. Keeping the focus on the aliveness of your senses, preparing to open your eyes now, ready to bring your full attention to the work of art presented in front of you.
This drawing is one of the Western Art Print Room's most treasured possessions. Every year, many visitors ask to see it, along with the other so-called sepias by the 19th century British artist Samuel Palmer. It's one of 6 drawings that were once framed together to form a set representing different times of day, from early morning to late twilight. These drawings are unique in the technique they use, and you may like just to focus on how the artist uses his materials. People often think that this is a print, because the thickened outlines look like a woodcut print or an engraving. But looking more closely, following the artist's hand across the sheet, you may be able to see how the drawing is built up in layers, using a fine brush. First, drawing in brown sepia ink, then adding details in a blacker Indian ink, then layers of diluted gum arabic, built up in places along the outlines, and then washed over the whole drawing as a varnish. Working slowly, thoughtfully, going over and over certain contours, Palmer builds up the drawing gradually in layers, just as the hills pile up layer upon layer, rising up into the background. Palmer was a young man when he made this drawing, just 20 years old. He had recently met the very elderly William Blake and was inspired by his mystical, imaginative art. He described Blake's wood engravings as visions of little dells and nooks and corners of paradise. Immerse yourself in the dells and nooks of Palmer's landscape. A strange ivory-coloured light glimmers overhead. It could be morning, or late afternoon or evening. There's a timeless feeling to the people in the landscape too. The man lying in the foreground seems to be a poet or a philosopher reading a book. His expression could be read as melancholy and thoughtful, or just calm and contented, concentrating. Other figures stand far off amid the corn, a woman carrying a basket on her head, and a shepherd with his crook. Allow your eye to travel further into this mysterious landscape. The artist once wrote about aiming for a quality of going-inativeness, so he's inviting you to move deeper and deeper into his poetic universe. To the left, between the trees, you'll find the windows of cottages. Explore the paths leading up and over the hills to the distant cows silhouetted against the sky. The landscape seems almost dreamlike. Notice the strange flattened perspective and the distorted size of the ears of corn. Although it looks tranquil, you can imagine there being sounds in this landscape. A breeze rustling through the corn, insects buzzing, cows lowing or chewing the cud, sheep bleating and lapping at the pool of water. The music of the shepherd's pipe as he rests with his flock in the shade of the trees, and the horse clip-clopping as the cart makes its way up the hill. There might be cries from the birds overhead, and possibly a church bell in the far distance. I'm going to read a few lines from Psalm 65, part of which Palmer quoted on the mount to this drawing. It's the version that would have been familiar to him. Thou crownest the year with thy goodness, and thy paths drop fatness. They drop upon the pastures of the wilderness. And the little hills rejoice on every side. The pastures are clothed with flocks. The valleys also are covered over with corn. They shout for joy. They also sing. Everyone has their own notion of paradise. Palmer's is a place where the natural world is in harmony with human activity. Everywhere in this drawing, there are signs of a close relationship with nature, with animals, of people dwelling in the abundance and richness of the world. Following Palmer's winding lines up the hill to the right, looking up to the trees and bushes that are almost doodled against the sky, see how there are still fence posts and a little gate, bringing order to the luxurious tangle of undergrowth. There are repeated straight parallel lines for the corn, contrasting with the soft, rounded contours of the hills, the trees, and the thatched cottages. Consider the many different marks that Palmer makes, covering his sheet with tiny patterns. Almost every inch of the landscape is packed with painstaking details. But these are contained within strong, dark, bounding lines which divide the drawing into sections, rather like a stained glass window. So there is peaceful order containing all that abundance, the fatness of nature. During the recent quarantine, you may have experienced a similar intensity, paying fresh attention to the natural world around you, to the spring plants as they appeared, to the bird song and sky. You may feel that we have acquired a more sensitive way of looking, something approaching the intensity of Palmer's poetic vision, perhaps, becoming part of living nature and the landscape in a surprising, new way.